Why don't we just call this the Jimmy Update Podcast? Why don't we, Nick?
Because it's a terrible name.
Oh. Because it's a terrible name, Avi.
It's a fucking anti-aircraft missile, Vincent.
And I'm like, this is who I am. And I'm like, I ain't no freak anymore.
All right. Let's rip in, Nick.
Episode 2 and first attempt of episode 2.
So this probably won't make it.
No, probably not.
Yeah, well, we made it.
Yep.
It's number 2. Ramped up some equipment.
Yep.
Oh. Still
Haven't learned how to use it yet, but we've got it.
Ramped up equipment. Haven't worked out how to use this arm thing. Now, it's probably the only thing we haven't ramped up is the old squeaky hip arms. These things. Because the guy was asking when I was buying the camera, he was like, he's like, what are you doing? Do you shoot short films? I'm like, no, mate, filming a podcast with it.
Kinda. It's probably better than that, but
Yeah, it's like using a a jet engine to blow dry your hair. It's just such overkill.
oh well, they get to see this crap in high quality.
No, 'cause we'll probably upload pixelated photos of the designs. So we literally like slid in by like a bee's dick, eh? We got announced 15 minutes ago. We go into a 2-week lockdown
Yeah.
as of 6 hours from now.
Yep. So this is legal.
Yep. Just snuck in. Dude, I actually think that's probably a hell benefit though, because everyone's going to be locked down for 2 weeks.
They have to listen to us. They've got nothing else to listen
So
to.
we'll do a 146-hour podcast.
Yeah. Let's do a daily one.
Just eyes bleeding by the end.
Daily ramble.
Hopefully not too many of you in lockdown, but those few that are, hopefully it's a good little listen. We're going to rip through the top 10. We just boiled it down. Actually, as of like probably an hour ago, we had 11. And then I had to boost one. I'll let you know when we're reading them out who actually got slid in at the last minute, because we brought one across. So we had to boot one. And so we were deliberating over that final one for a few minutes. But the top 10 is now sorted. And yeah, we're good to go.
How much of this was based on like pure, popularity on social media versus your what you thinking would look cool?
Look, a lot of it was probably fairly weighted on votes. The difference is though, which I'll, when we're going through the top 10, I'll tell you which one got voted the highest, but it's pretty big on like qualitative feedback. So how hard people froth, like that's why I like reading all the comments, because, it's different than someone like sending like a little fire emoji or than someone just being like, holy shit, this design rules.
Yeah, it's easy to tap the old heart button or whatever, but it's not to type out, a truly heartfelt comment.
Yeah, there's a few in here that are like just really resonate with people, and they're just like, yep, if you don't mate this, I'm going to kill every member of my family. And you're like, whoa.
And it didn't make the cut, so there's a little homicide going down.
But yeah, so there's a few like that. Like there's actually the first one, which when we get into it, I'll tell you, is like every single it wasn't voted the highest, but every single person that voted it was just like really frothing on it, So there's a few designs like that you just like undeniably put together well, and you can just appreciate them, but they get slightly less genuine, foam over it. They're like, people will just be like, yeah, that's obviously a good design. Do you know what I mean? And then there's like little ones that are put together a little bit more rough, but just, yeah, people froth.
You can get any sus, like blatant social media influencer pushing on these ones?
Dude, I'll tell you what did happen though. I didn't mention this before.
I smell a bit of controversy in the air. Oh, he's giving me a nod of approval. What is it?
So the one that it was in the top 10 was one of Connor's that that had the swords all put into the center.
Yeah, the round table kind of one.
Yeah, about 3 or 4 people sent me a photo of a watch that had that exact design.
Oh, Connor.
Yeah.
Connor.
That's the equivalent of pissing hot.
I feel like we have to check last year's winning one and make sure he hasn't taken that from a watch as well.
Yeah, it was. Look, I don't know if it was an exact. I'm not going to say he torched that exact design, but it was hell similar. So it had to get roosted out of the top 10.
Imagine next year he just sends in one with the Mona Lisa on it. Tries to claim it as original. What? It's mine.
But yeah, so there was a couple like that people had seen designs before and they let us know. But besides that, it's all fresh.
It's good having eyes out on the street, making sure it's like you got a little personal police force out there that's checking
fully.
out whether things are legal or not.
For sure. All right, so actually we've got a name for the podcast now.
Ooh, why didn't you tell them, Perds?
Well, we've got a few names. I wouldn't mind, I'm not necessarily settled on it. The intro that's come up will obviously say this podcast name, but we were going to name it one of the names that we originally had for Crooked Howlet, which was, so we had a few. One of them stinks. I'm so glad I didn't go with it. But one of the front runner with Crooked Howlet was the 9 Bob Hog, just like a rip off of, speaking of rip-offs, was 9 Bob Note. So we had one of the designs. One of the names.
What's 9 Bob Note?
It's just a saying, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But so we had one lined up, which was 9 Bob Hog. So we're thinking about calling it the 9 Bob Hog podcast because we had the newspaper, which you get with every order, which is the 9 Bob Bugle. But yeah, and then what other ones?
I like 9 Bob, the Bugle one, and I was going down a rabbit hole trying to find what Bugle meant because I remember some Spider-Man or something, and then I thought maybe there was some really cool backstory. But every time I searched Bugle, I just got pictures back of trumpets. I was like a bit less cool now. Now I know what it actually is. Yeah,
Like a
bugle's like a type of trumpet, and I kind of knew that, but I thought maybe there was some other deep. I said to you, I thought maybe back in the 1700s. To spread the news, some bloke would walk out in the street with a trumpet and start playing it.
That's a hell good theory.
But then I looked it up and there's just pictures of trumpets. So I don't know what it means.
Maybe I like that more then. And there's no sexual connotation to the 9 Bob Hog.
Yeah, you do love trumpets as well. Always said that.
The 9-inch hog. But yeah, I might go that. Just because what we said at the end of the last one, a few people definitely call it the Joe Slogan experience. But
so unrelated, but how can you not?
And then just sort of on that, it'd be worth sort of getting it. Yeah, so those were the two that were front running for the name of the design, name of the business, Crooked Howlet Designs and the 9 Bob Hog. And yeah, so Crooked Howlet Designs, where that actual name came from, it was when we sort of first conceptualized the idea for the company. We're at
it was all you.
When I said we, I meant me and my dad, but I didn't preface it with that. Yeah, we were talking about it at this pub in the UK called the Crooked Billet, and in Clapton, and I was staying right near there. But I wanted to have a animal in the brand name, so I don't know, so we could build a better logo around that. So it got changed to the Crooked Howlet. Well, Crooked Howlet. I think I'm not sort of completely. I reckon there's a good chance that eventually the brand will just get simmered down to Howlet. I reckon that's probably a little bit. I don't know. What do you reckon?
What is Howlet another word for owl or something?
Yeah. So Howlet was a word Shakespeare made up for an owl. Yeah,
Made it up.
Yeah, he did.
Shakespeare just does that, eh?
Yeah.
Probably.
He made up 1,000 words or something. I swear, Carl Pilkington.
Yeah, I think that's where I heard it.
Yeah, so I'm the worst person to quote. But
maybe we can start doing that.
So on one of our Howlet signet has got the quote from Shakespeare, which was with the lizard's leg and the Howlet's wing. So that's where that came from. But yeah, and then obviously the second one was the 9 Bob Hog. We were thinking, once again, man, I don't want to think with these super long names. The good thing is with having a long name is that once you have traction on your website, Google will correct if you get within a couple of syllables of it. Like if you've got a really common word, it's going to be hard for, it's harder for SEO if people are getting close to it and missing. Where the Crooked Howlet, you could botch up a few letters and it's going to get you there. But I reckon, I wouldn't mind making the transition at some point over to Howlet just as a brand name. But and yeah, the other one was what was the other one? Something about railway children or something.
I can't remember. I remember getting the text message that you sent back in fucking 78 when you started it, and you sent us a list of them, but I can't remember any of the others. So.
Yeah, I think it was something like the railway children.
Sounds like Monster Children a little bit.
Yeah, no,
I don't know why.
Glad I faded that one. So yeah, I think we would call the podcast the 9 Bob Hog podcast or Joe Slogan Experience.
Yeah.
And
I still preferred Ryan Purds' super cool jewelry company. I can't believe that didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
So on that note, actually, how did the brand actually itself start?
So the Yeah, the brand itself with its original start was kind of just like a dummy run hoax for a uni subject. So we're at uni, we were doing I was studying marketing, so I don't have a traditional jewelry background. I've come sort of more from the business side. And part of one of our subjects, we had to do a business placement. And I was always going to start, the goal was always to start my own business. Um, and I just hadn't had a vehicle at that point to do so. And one of the subjects was, yeah, you had to do a marketing placement. I was getting more and more unkeen on working at a business. So sorry, another company. So I'd ask my teacher, like, hey, if you've got your own company, can you just do the business placement with yourself? And they're like, yeah, if you've got one. So I was like, oof. I'd already started sort of making a bit of jewelry myself. And so I was like, all right, yeah, sweet. Well, I've got my own business. So I'll do it with, I'll do it with myself. And then, so I started Crooked Howlet based purely on that I needed to do it for a uni subject. And the good thing about starting it that way was that it made me formalize a lot of processes that otherwise wouldn't be if it was still just like a hobbyist company. So, you had to establish like good business and marketing plans, part of the subject. And so that's what sort of really gave Crooked Howlet like a really solid foundation from the start. It was no longer just a sort of hobbyist business. It was legitimate right from day one. So I'd started it at uni, and then, it started going well. So I dropped out of uni and focused all my time on that. But
Like that teacher need to go back and find that teacher and give him a good old handshake.
I don't even know who it is.
Slap
actually
on the back, kiss
Slap
on the
on the
lips.
But yeah, so that's how it originally started. And then from there, I was literally just in my garage at that point, making every ring. And that was another thing which I've found like so much value in, the sense that I've had to do every single area of the business myself. So obviously I don't work in every area now, but it gives me a really good understanding of every aspect of the company. So even because I just didn't have money to spend. So like whether it was photography, and I remember just when I started learning, the tropes of social media and how to advertise, and I would just sit just hours and hours and hours. I just obsess over things. And so I would just sit hours and hours on YouTube, just learning from every single person I could, just to avoid like spending anything, because I had no money to spend. So every area of the business at least some point, whether it's, making the rings, whether it's all the business side, the accounts, that was all originally done by me. And it's just given such a better platform to sort of learn and move forward. I love there's a quote by the founder of Canva. Do you remember her name?
No.
So is that,
what you
she's
mean.
from
She's from
Sydney as well.
Sydney,
Yeah. So I loved her quote because I've thought it myself before, but she coined this phrase, just-in-time learning, which I love because it's obviously a take on just-in-time manufacturing. But she's just sort of said that so many parts of their business they've learnt out of pure necessity, like they've vertically grown into an area that they previously had no knowledge on, and then they've learnt on the fly. And I feel like I've done that a lot with the business, in the sense that it was like a week out when I asked, hey, can I do a business placement myself? She's like, yeah. So I was like, all right, so forced me to learn areas of the business that I never previously would have.
Yeah, I guess it helps as well. Like you're not putting your complete trust in other people, because you know better than, or just as well as them, what you're kind of asking from them. So you're not kind of just putting your blind faith in someone else to do something. You're kind of giving them, something to do, knowing or having a pretty good idea of how you think it should be done, and you're not getting the wool pulled over your eyes or whatever.
Yeah, I think like obviously you can have a hotter start if you've got already capital in the business, but ours was just such a slow burn. And with building a brand as well, that can take just so many years. So it allowed me to, one, retain capital by doing everything myself, retain cash flow, and over time, build brand because build more efficient processes because I have learned how to do it myself in the best possible process.
Actually, yeah, I'm pretty kind of, you said in another podcast, we might dip into your process a little bit. I'm pretty keen to see how that works. Let us know if you're keen as well, people out there.
Peel it back.
Yeah, peel back that little layer. Pull back the curtain.
But yeah, for sure. I think that sums it up pretty well. But so the original plan for this design comp and what it was last year was the winner gets their design made for a full month, and then the runner-up just has their ring made. So we produced the winning design for a month. For this year, it's going to be sold in September. And then the runner-up, we just made the ring for them and sent them out for them. So this year, I think what we're going to do, I haven't fully fleshed out this plan, but I think the second place, we're also going to do a little exclusive release. So we might just do it for one day or, I'm not sure. I might even just do it for the 1st of September. The second place design gets released for that one day. And then I was even thinking about doing a People's Champ one, like releasing the whole comp, all like 600 designs somewhere online, and people go and vote for one that they'd like to be released for a day.
Like, that'd be sick.
Probably the Siggy design.
Yeah. That's
Siggy
where
the
my
big
vote's
Norths.
going.
Yeah.
Or the grandma titties.
Yeah. Yeah. My grandma's Norks.
Mine, specifically mine. I don't know whose grandma is, but I know what her Norks look like.
He'll need to send in a photo so we can craft it perfectly.
You're a liar. This don't look like hers.
They're perky. But yeah, so that's what I think we're going to do this year is I reckon it'd be cool to release on the 1st and 2nd 2 like little one day exclusives, and then obviously all of September will be the winning design. What do you reckon?
Wait, did you say 1st and 2nd or 2nd and 3rd?
So
One day.
what's that?
Did you say 1st and 2nd for one day exclusive?
Yeah, maybe. No, of September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like the 1st and 2nd of September, we'll release maybe one for one day, and then the rest of September will be the winning design.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Because I mean, there's, like you said, like 600 different designs in here. So even if people might be frothing on the one that comes second and not first, so it just gives people the opportunity to buy something else if they fucking hate number one.
Yeah, the thing is, because there's so many sick ones. Even in this top 10, there's a couple I just definitely want to see made. There's a few that are kind of like, it would be hard for us to completely nail the design, and there's others that I just know like objectively will be sick. But and then there's like, so that's why I'm keen for people to have. Well, one question people have been asking as well is, even if this doesn't win, like there's already one that didn't make the top 10 or top 50 that I'd had a few people ask, hey, can I get this design? We're going to work something out there and, link up the designer and, you can request that. I just think, there's just so many sick designs, dude.
Yeah, fully. It's kind of hard to kiss some of them goodbye and not see them get made.
I know. They're actually top 10, because like when we were picking the top 50, it sort of felt like we were picking like a solid fantasy footy team. And it was just like, yes, this top 50 is such a solid collection. But then going to the top 10, it felt like we were weakening that team because we were just kicking out so many good ones.
Yeah, I know. Knowing that you'll never see that in real life.
I was deliberating on one for so long, but I just didn't. I'll talk about it in there. Actually, yeah, I'll talk about it after, but I was so keen for it to go through. It got voted high, but I just couldn't get my head around how it would be made. There's a few elements that I didn't think would work, and in the artwork, they worked really well, but I just don't think it would have translated that well to a ring stinger.
I'm keen to hear your thoughts behind your reasoning and why you did or didn't add them in.
The top 10?
Yeah. It's from like a feasibility perspective as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's it. Yeah, let's do it. So just a little schedule. So we've got, obviously this is coming out. This will be Monday night for you guys. And then we're going to showcase the designs for 5 days. So 2 a day for 5 days, and that's going to be, obviously based on heavy feedback, what you guys are loving. And then on the following Thursday is when we're going to announce a winner. So we'll record a podcast. Actually, can you do that?
What?
Can you record a midweek potty?
I guess I have to now that it's live on air.
Yeah, I fully didn't realize that.
It's a 10-hour one as well. And you have to do it.
Yeah, all right, let's rip on in. So this is in no order, obviously. This is just the top 10. So when we're saying like number one, it's not actually voted highest. All right, so number one, the first of the top 10 of the design comp is Bite Me by Emma Ram.
Well done, Emma Ram.
So this is, I guess, what we were talking about at the start. It's one of those ones that's, it's kind of just like a little bit warm and fun. Like it's not like just that real sort of intense, dark designery type, but people really like it. So it's one of the ones where I was saying that a lot of ones that are just voted with like little emojis. This one just had like a lot of like big feedback on it. Just been like, oh, this one has to get made. I think it just like sort of resonates with people in a way, just like it's got a little sort of like fun little motifs on it. And it's just like a cool, warm design. It's something that, like we talked about in the last podcast, it's then up to the wearer to build their sort of own experience around it. They'll get something that's just, get bought for them, and then it'll be something that they'll end up having for 10, 20 years. And the sort of the light nature of the ring is I guess the initial impact of it. And then after a while, it's just like it becomes a special ring to you with a cool, few cool little motifs.
Yeah. And it just, cool. That just sums it up. It just looks cool, like without having to like really think about it and like, overanalyze it. It just looks cool.
Yeah, it's not deep or anything. It's just like sort of garners that personal response. There's no meaning behind. Well, there might be actually, but like
This is completely meaningless, obviously.
I think the thing is, it's like what I like as well with what we do at our designs is it allows the wearer to build their own meaning into it, or their own experience, or their own significance, and it's just a cool little it's just a sick little design put together well. I love it.
Me too. I like the little shark tooth as well
on the side.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you could probably fully sculpt, really dig that in. This one I'm not 100% sure on the approach of it. You'd probably just do a standard engrave on the top, so not sculptural.
Yeah, even like the outer part of the circle, like with the dots, like I wouldn't know how to like describe what that is in words, but it just looks kind of nautical and just cool.
Yeah, it's framed well.
Yeah.
Well, Emma Ram,
Good on you.
this one nudged out her other, so she did have Tequila Sunrise. It was up there. I thought this one just edged it out slightly. So the second one is by Alessio Van Zandt, Soul Seeker. So these ones is a pretty cool like contrast between these two designs. This one is just like, very like a like objectively sick design put together. Like the artwork as a whole was done really well, and it's just sick artistic skill putting this together. Is Hallmark's really cool, and yeah, this one got voted real high. And once like coming into it, a few people said, and I think I've sort of said it before as well, it's like you think you're getting over skull rings, and then they just get voted the highest. Like people just love them so much, and when they're put together well, the skulls are here to stay, Nick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, it looks like something, I mean, just talking about the drawing itself, looks like something you'd find on like an old burnt out scroll that you'd dig up from some archaeological site. It looks so sick. I'd love to do that thing, in school when you used to do a treasure map and like put coffee stains on it. It looks like I want to print this out and do that to it and just stick it on my wall.
Yeah, fully. Well, that's what actually we're going to do. I can't remember if we announced this in the potty that made air or if it was one of the 48 that we ditched, but we're going to do a newspaper with all these designs in it, and everyone who's in the design comp's going to get one of those papers. So it's only going to be for the people who entered, and it's going to be the 2021 design comp submissions, and then we'll probably like number the papers and sign them. That can be pretty cool.
That'd be sick. Like a little gallery that has like their name and the name of the ring and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and having them for every year. Well, we didn't do it for last year, but I suppose we always can.
Yeah, that's a big book though, 500 designs.
Yeah, well, we won't do one per page.
Oh, true.
It will just probably just stack the pages and then maybe have the top 10, maybe listed a certain way. I don't know.
I love it.
All right, so number 3 is HalfLife by Dion de Cruyff.
Huge fan of this one. I'm stoked it made it to the top 10. I would have been spewing if it didn't.
I think just for like personal interactions, people have loved this the most just directly associated to me. Like a lot of people have been like, I'm backing this one for the win. I just think a real cool contrast between the high polished face on the left to the skull. You could have a really, really aged, beaten up skull would look so sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I fucking love this one.
Once again, like another skull design through, but like I'm not basing it on a skull. Like I'm not saying these are through because of skulls. They're just really well put together designs.
Yeah. This one's cool because it's not obviously not just like it's semi-original. Or it is original. It's not just a kind of bog standard kind of skeleton.
It's
not cool usage of it.
You're not relying on the skull to edge them through.
Yeah, it's not like here's a skeleton, get me through the top 10.
Oath. All right, so number 4 is two. When you build up some anticipation.
This one you almost took out of the top 10 because you couldn't pronounce it.
It's the word two as well. My tongue just rolled its ankle. Two Worlds by Lyle Watson. So this one, although this doesn't mean too much, this was voted the highest coming in. So not that it doesn't mean too much, like it does mean a bit, but
it's not the reason it's in there.
Yeah, no, and it's not pegged to win. It was just a lot of people, a lot of people love this. I do think it's just two really solid concepts put together, like two really, I don't know, important motifs, I guess you could say. The space helmet. The space was a feature this year, eh?
Yeah,
the
fully.
whole 600 designs. Just the
Even nautical. There's a fair few nautical tings in here.
true. Just the space helmet and that old school diver helmet. People just, jeez, people just amp on.
I
So,
love the hallmark on that one as well, eh? That little lighthouse. I reckon it's sick.
is that the hallmark?
Probably.
Yeah, that is cool. And once again, a bit more sort of just like light cartoony, not overly polished little hallmark. It's cool. So that was number 4.
Well done, Lyle Watson.
Yeah, that one's cool. That's one of the ones where I just know would be good because we've done a few of those. We do these rings for Navy Dive Unit here in Sydney, and every year we sort of change the design up for them. We recently did a diver helmet. It looks so good. Eh? All right,
What?
number 5 by it's called "Don't Double Cross the Cross-Legged" by Joe Gardner.
Well done, Joe. I like this one. I love the description made me like it even more. Because he's I'll just quickly say I love badass Western movies and shows. The best thing about them is usually the badass characters and the way they deliver one-liners right before dusting someone. I love that. You can so imagine like Clint Eastwood like squinting at the camera and going, "Don't cross the double, whatever it's called.
Yeah, fully right before dusting someone.
Don't double cross the cross-legged."
Yeah, dude, I was looking at that name and I was like, is that a saying of some sort?
Yeah, or a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Just trip me over.
Don't double cross the cross. You got tripped over. I got tripped over by the word "two."
Maybe we should learn to read before we start a podcast.
Dude, yeah, I literally thought that was like a saying of something. You know, like you don't wear white after Labor Day or something like that.
If there was one thing you could have done better, Joe, it would have been that. Wrong saying.
Don't double cross the cross-legged. I feel like grabbing like a young, distant relative and passing that on as advice one day. Listen here, son, mate.
Your last dying words.
Yeah. Just remember, mate, you don't double cross a cross-legged mark.
Oh, Dad's gone crazy.
Do you reckon that sounds like a saying?
Yeah, it does. I like it.
Yeah, this is cool. Once again, it's a bit of a funner design, but it only works because the design elements lined up well. You know, it's cool going down the side. Just the feature alone could have just been all put in the face and it probably would have lost a bit of its value in the sense that he's gone down the sides with the desert and the arms. I reckon doing like a deep engrave on the sky there would be really cool. So not like a 0.3 or whatever it usually is, like literally up to a mil. So it's quite deep behind his head. That would give it cool structure.
That's a pretty, I don't know, is that a pretty original theme? There's not heaps of Western themed rings in here.
If you haven't seen one.
I like that. It's cool. It's a cool theme as well. It should be getting heaps of them.
Western.
Yeah, I like it.
So that's Joe Gardner, number 5.
On you, Joe.
So number 6 is last year's winner, Connor Taylor, with My Demons Can Swim.
Now I'm sussing where kind of stolen this genius design from. Nah, it's sick.
Yeah, this is
So
cool.
stoked this one made it in the top 10 as well.
Yeah, I think that this one is like it's such a sick design. Just from a production standpoint, it would be difficult to nail, but like would be happy to take it on for sure. It would just, I'm trying to think with the hands, like this, like the skeleton hands are so petite and fine. Like it would be, I think I might be getting a bit over his skis with the rippled in the onyxes because it would be so hard. You'd have to get each one of those onyxes custom rippled because he said that he wanted, which would be like it's a sickest feature. I think I'd maybe suggest doing it in black resin instead of like an onyx stone.
That's a lot easier to do.
Yeah, it probably would be, and you could actually ripple it. But either way, it's so sick. And like sort of goes back to what we were saying before with skull designs. None of these are bog standard skull designs. Like this is such a cool little feature. The little head just dipping out of the black water. This got voted really, really high. We'd need to probably dick around with it a few times before we could get it right, but
Worth it. I reckon that'll be a sick ring.
yeah, it'd be a mish to get right there. All right, number 7 is Maneater by Alistair King. So this had a lot of early round frost. So like when we first posted it, like pre-top 50, a lot of people were foaming on it. So that's what sort of nudged it through. This one's like the particular design elements in this ring, like wouldn't knock your cock off, but it is just like It is like just the structural elements are really cool. So like the way he's built the sides up to sit on that plate. Like I like the I don't even know what you call it, but just the sort of structural elements to the actual shank and the center plate has been because what you could do with that center plate as well is make that a different alloy. You could do it in 9 yellow or something like that.
Yeah, I like those little pointy bits coming out the sides. Bit creative, and these kind of like, I don't know, creepy like Salem vampire witch, Blair Witch symbols, kind of dark but cool dark.
And then a gargoyle,
Yeah.
little Lockie gargoyle.
Shout out to Lachlan.
All right, number 8 is The Protector by Justin D'Souza. So there's a lot of designs in the top 10 that we'd probably need to play around with a bit to get right. So just because I guess things we're not used to doing, but this is probably one that I just know that would be, regardless of how it goes in the comp, would just be sick. Like there's the scales would work really well, just good on a good solid signet shape. This would just, regardless, look really, really good.
Yeah, it looks super intricate and hard to imagine how it would get built.
Yeah, it'd be such a good design, and people really like this as well. So this was another one of the ones that not necessarily voted probably the highest, but the people that were voting, they're like, yeah, surely Protector, get it through.
Yeah, good work. And like it's sick how the kind of snake's tail kind of acts as like the border for the ring. Then it kind of just like pops off the side there a little bit to show I don't know, it just looks a bit cool rather than like a bog standard snake just sitting in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, it's a cool little concept as well with the lamb sitting there, because you could have just relied on the snake to edge it through. Just the scales will, oxidized scales would work so well. The same thing with the salmon, the koi fish from last year, that would pop. So
yeah.
So that was number 8. Number 9 is Small World by Rosie Gaunt.
Another.
This is one of your favorite, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like this one. I liked it. I thought it was a really creative use of the stone, and I don't know, wolves are cool.
Yeah, I think that it could lack in a few areas because it had a really sick center stone and the wolves. Those two work really well together. So I'm not saying it did necessarily lack in other areas, but just those two center concepts just really sort of, did the heavy lifting for this design. And yeah, right from the start as well, people were amping on this. So that was...
Rightly so.
That was number 9.
Well done, Rosie Gaunt.
And number 10. So this was the one that got the last minute call up, like as of half an hour ago. I thought, this is a weird thing as well, is that like, actually, I'll announce it first and then go back.
No, drag them out.
No, because it gives them it lets them know who it was. So number 10, which got called up probably about half an hour before doing this, is Star Jump by Justin D'Souza. So I was thinking, I didn't actually, because what I do is I make a real concerted effort to not read names. I don't want to see a friend's name or, see something because even Connor's, I didn't, until it was in the top 50, I didn't realize his name. So I try and not read the names or the emails before because I want it to be on design alone.
Yeah, because that instantly makes you feel biased and not want to pick them because you feel,
But so when I was picking this, I was like, oh, this dude's going to be frothing and he's got one into the top 10. And then I just realized he already had the other one. But 2 in the top 10 by Justin D'Souza.
Well done, Justin D'Souza. Out of 500 plus 500 designs, 2 of yours made into the top 10.
Well earned. Yeah, I think the thing that really dragged this one through was the gold star. There were a few space-themed designs. There was one actually really similar to this, which is so weird because there was no space ones last year. It's so weird that these little themes crop up. But was really the gold star. I reckon that would look so good.
Yeah, this one's a little bit different because a lot of the space themes seem to be like the spaceman helmet, but this is kind of just general space. It's not using that kind of iconic spaceman helmet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's another one, just regardless of how it goes, I'd be keen to see that made.
I don't really understand the not because it's bad or anything, but I just don't really understand the band behind there. I don't get what the shading is there. But
yeah, I think he wants to have just a little channel around the ring, and that's just another cool little added feature. I actually reckon that would be really cool, that channel down the side.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, that's a top 10.
Congrats to all of you, especially Justin D'Souza who got 2.
Well, Emma nearly got 2 as well. Emma Ram, she nearly had Tequila Sunrise in there as well.
True.
But
Oh, well,
yeah, it's a solid top 10. What are you banking for the win?
I think my favorites. I like Connors, but I really like HalfLife as well.
The Jewelers are definitely not banking on Connors winning because it'll be such a mission.
Please, dude, crossing your fingers.
Obviously, I won't say who I'm thinking, but it's a solid top 10. I'm trying to think. I'd love to see him side by side with last year's top 10.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But
Yeah, big fan of HalfLife. I'm a big fan of HalfLife. Good on you, Dion.
so an honorable mention one that I really wanted to drag through. There was two that I wanted to bring through that just got edged out. One was Dark Swell by Maria Christina Dottori Oaks.
Yeah.
What a name hog.
Rich coming from you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mr. Three-barreled name.
But yeah, I just, it was really hard to sort of think she's talked about using 2D and 3D components in the ring. I'd sort of spec'd it out and how we could nail those waves. And it was just really hard. I'd love to talk to her and just do a little custom with her on this and just see how it would play out. This was a hard one to roost because I just thought it was such a cool design and everyone loved it. So it's such a good design, but it just the practicality, the feasibility of it just kind of meant that it got edged right at the finish line. But the other one also was Duality. That
Yeah, that was last minute. You must have pulled that out.
yeah, I reckon the center image there is really really well done, and the chains would be cool engraving. It's got to be a top 10, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, and even the side tiers, I'll be keen to. I don't know. Well, when we do the People's Champ, that might get voted on in. So we're going to release a top 600 for everyone to vote on a design that they'd like to see, just for a little one day. It might be a one day, or I don't know. We'll do some sort of little exclusive release.
Yeah, I have to maybe shuffle the order or something, so because people might not scroll through the whole thing. They might just see the first one and just go, "Oh, I can't be fucked scrolling."
Yeah, well, because that was one of the things we had to be conscious of when we posted the designs. So the other thing is with Two Worlds, I was saying that was voted one of the highest. It was also the first one we voted on a good time on a certain day. So I think people were a lot more engaged. Like that set of designs that we posted first, that had the most engagement out of all the others. So although it did get voted, it sort of depends on what pool it was in, you know. And then another honorable mention, one that I think once we make this as a ring, people would appreciate how good of a design it was, is Grab or Regret by Jing Hong Ho.
Yeah, I was absolutely spewing. This one didn't make the top 10 because that was one of my picks last week.
Really cool hallmark as well.
Yeah. I reckon that would have looked so sick.
Yeah, I'd be keen to make this happen with him at some point.
He's getting my People's Champ vote.
For sure. So that's the top 10. Hopefully people in Sid have got a bit of time on their hands this week to feed us the feedback.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's a top 10. Hope you guys like it. I reckon it's such a solid top 10. And I think last year I had a fairly good idea right out of the gates of the top 3, who I thought the top 3 was. I knew Connors would be top 3. And I was happy regardless if that went through to win. This one I really don't I genuinely don't know who'll be number 1. It'll be largely based around, I guess, solid feedback, chatting to the audience.
Here's a question for you. Out of this top 10, which one got the least positive feedback and you felt the need to add it in there? And also which one got the most feedback and didn't make the cut?
Okay, probably the least was probably actually Star Jump. But I think that, and I know he already had one in there, but I thought the people that did like it really saw what it would be once it was, in the flesh. So that's what pulled it through last minute. And I think, Dark Swell would have been the one that got the most votes that didn't make it through. And because that artwork is just so cool. That's the thing that I think really brought Dark Swell its
popularity.
Its popularity. It's just hard to really conceptualize because a couple of elements there that I just don't know how they would sit on a ring. And look, I'd be keen to flesh it out and like actually design it and see how it comes out. But that would have been the other one that everyone was probably going to be slinging abuse at me for not putting through. But yeah, those are the two there, and the most popular and least popular.
I guess that's a good message for 2022 to consider feasibility, because like you said, that's probably one of the things that made you lean a bit away from dark swells, having to work out how possible it would be.
I think actually one that never actually made the top 50 that I liked probably the most that didn't get any froth was Great Expectations by Iris Tora Alaba. Can you give that a
Your
note?
voice just faded out at the end because you gave up. I can't even find it.
I've got, yeah. I just this artwork is it's in honorable mentions.
Oh, cool.
The artwork here is so cool. It's just like a fun, warm little design. Kind of dark at the top with that eye, but and the signet shape is super unique. They could have pegged this on a rectangle signet, no worries, and it would have been cool. But to have that, you know, I guess like, what would you even call that? I guess like asymmetrical octagon shape. I reckon that's so sick. I'd love to chuck that on the front of the paper.
Yeah, that's a really cool picture.
I'm gonna chuck that on the front of the paper actually.
It's fucking detailed.
But yeah, so that's the top 10, and we'll be showcasing all this week. So we'll be doing 2 a day, and they'll be pretty much going head to head each day. And obviously they're all competing against each other, but we'll probably do a few polls for people to vote on as well, so you guys can actually see what's getting through. That won't be the deciding factor, but each day we put up the 2, we'll probably do a poll where you'll vote yes or no, or this or that. But yeah. What you reckon, Mark?
Pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm extremely stoked that again HalfLife got in. Extremely cut that Grab or Regret didn't get in, but you know, out of 500 designs, you got to be pretty happy with a couple of your faves getting in there.
Yeah, I'm looking through the honorable mentions, and
It's a big list.
yeah.
I think it's the other 490 rings.
Yeah. Well, anyway, keep super engaged over this next week, because we're gonna need to hear all your feedback. And next, the following Thursday is when we're going to announce the winner. So what we'll probably do with that is we'll probably make it a live feed, not necessarily a live podcast, because I'm not sure how it's going to work. We'll probably just launch it live and just do like a live premiere on YouTube for everyone to watch. And yeah, and then we're going to do that one day exclusive of the People's Champ in the second place.
Nice. Looking forward to it.
Austin, any final words, Mark?
No.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
See you. Chat to you next Thursday.